Welcome to the Exceptionally Irresistible Show, featuring conversations with people who have demonstrated exceptional success in their lives and who have some irresistible qualities worth learning from. Come learn how others have created an exceptionally irresistible life. You too can live an extraordinary life, both personally and professionally. So sit back, relax, grab your favorite beverage, and enjoy the show. Hello, and welcome to another awesome, exceptionally irresistible show. We are here on another episode with another remarkable story. Remember, people, you are exceptionally irresistible. That's who you are. And these stories are only to really bring that out and show you how there are other people who are doing some incredible things out there. And hopefully, you could draw some inspiration from their stories, or maybe you relate to them on something. And it's going to ignite something within you. And it's going to inspire you to really bring out and shine out that light that you already have in you. And there is literally, I think, in my opinion, take it for what it's worth, there is nobody better to talk about this than today's guest. Today's guest is a woman that I'm just so inspired by her story, her message, everything that she shares. Claudia Wyatt is one of the most incredible people I've met on LinkedIn, through my network, through the people that we're connected with together, people who were also guests on this show and who are future guests of the show. We're all in this together because birds of a similar feather flock together. Let's be honest, okay? So today you're going to meet one of the most incredible inspirational coaches, inspirational leaders that you're ever going to hear, ever going to watch. And without further ado, Claudia.
Hello, everyone. Oh, now talk about an introduction. You are amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
It is such an honor. Thank you so much for saying yes to come on to this show. It's I know it's been in the works. I spoke to you even last season that we were trying to get you, and just schedules didn't align, but today the stars have aligned.
It's our
So
time
this
to
is
shine.
awesome. This is great. I'm super excited because here's the reason why, Claudia. And I really, I love the message. I love your story. I love everything that you're about. And this is really time to, you're that inspirational coach. You're that inspirational leader. So let's inspire the audience. What do you think about that?
Yes, let's do it. My
Awesome.
mission. Let's go.
So, let's ask you the question that I asked everybody. You're standing on a rooftop somewhere. You have a megaphone. You are yelling this something. Okay, fill in the blank. You're yelling something for the world to hear. What are you saying?
Yes, you can.
Oh, I love it.
All the things that are spinning around in your head that are telling you that you can't. I am here. This is my mission, is to stand up and say, yes, you can. You can do it. You can believe in yourself. You can accomplish those goals. You can hit those dreams. You can live the life you want to live. You can be who you are. Yes, you can.
Hey guys, I don't know about you, but I'm here sitting on the other side of the screen, and I feel like I was in the room and I felt the energy. So hey, this is Claudia, by the way. This is why she is unbelievable. And it's true. It's all about that you can, and you're coming with that vigor. And when you're coming with that enthusiasm and you're coming with that energy, that power force, there's nothing that could stand in your way.
Absolutely not. We forget how amazing we really are.
Mm.
We have all these amazing things inside of us and these ideas, and we are stopped by ourselves on a regular basis. We block ourselves because of all of the judgment and the guilt and the people pleasing and all of these things that flock in our way.
Right.
And we actually succumb to them on a regular basis. And our minds then begin to go, okay, well, if they're saying this, or if I don't have time for that, then I can't do it. Yes, you can. You have to make time. You have to take the energy that you want and you have to put it out there. And finding your voice will find your power.
Wow. And this really ties into the next question, but I want to give you context before I delve into that. It's funny how how really the stars align in this kind of way. Last night, I woke up randomly at about 3, 4 in the morning, couldn't fall asleep for whatever it was. I was exhausted, but
Yeah.
I don't know, it just didn't work. And my brain just went to this. It was just simply asking that one question. Like, where did our, inner light, how did that ever get dimmed? And how did, there are so many people I come in contact with, in my work and stuff that I do. And it's really this idea, which ties very into the leader, I'm into legacy leadership. It ties into that where we don't feel like we even deserve this incredible life that's out there for us. We don't know how to get it. We don't know. It's just funny that that was on my mind for a couple of hours that I couldn't fall asleep last night. Um, but I'm actually very curious to hear, how did you let's start with how did you get to that message? How did you get to that, I deserve better? How did you get to that?
You have to drown out the noise because there's
Mm,
always going to be noise. It's you finding that place of peace within
mm,
yourself and going, I know my worth.
mm,
No matter what anyone says or does or thinks, I know what I've been through. Like nobody's
mm,
walked in my shoes but me.
mm,
I say on a regular basis, I fought hard to be myself for
mm,
myself.
mm,
All the patterns and the trajectory of what has gotten you to where you are, there was a reason for those things. You may not have known it in those moments, and some of those moments are full of pain, but
mm,
there's so much wisdom in those moments that's
mm,
trying to teach you something about yourself. And if
mm,
you drown out the noise and you reflect on where you've been, you get the insight of where you want to go.
mm,
One of the best questions I ask myself on a regular basis when different things come up is, what has your life prepared you for? And I can
mm,
see, I
mm.
can go back into when I was a child and things that I've done and go,
Wow.
oh my goodness, I see exactly why I was meant to do that in that moment. At the time, I didn't know what I was doing and I thought it
Mm,
was fun or, I was just being, silly kid or whatever. But now I get it. It was actually shaping me for my future. And it's so
mm,
cool that that happens. But unless you drown out the noise,
yeah.
you're not going to be able to hear it and you're not going to be able to see it.
Mm, mm,
Because you can hear with more than your ears.
sure. I love that, and I love the question. What has life prepared you for? And what I'm hearing that, and okay, I'm a little bit different than most average people, but I could hear a lot of people when they hear this message saying, "Oh my gosh, it's scary," or "Oh my god, like I don't want to look at that," or "I don't want to," I don't know what I'm going to hear. Maybe they went through a traumatic experience and I don't want to ever revisit that. It sounds to a lot of people, great that Claudia and Yirmi are giving them permission to do that, whatever. But I think there's, I don't know, do you see this in the work that you do? People kind of they have something to overcome first
Yeah.
before they're willing to look at that, to look at themselves in the mirror.
I have that even in my own journey.
Mm,
There was a lot of traumatic episodes and pain
right.
and terrible moments that struck me down.
Mm,
And when you're in those moments, you're like, why is this happening to me? And I don't want to
mm,
think about it. I don't want to talk about it. It'll come for you when you're ready. And
mm,
there's things and pieces that
yeah.
you may understand right away. And there's things that you will go, I need to explore this a little bit more because I don't understand why I keep going down the same road or these patterns keep happening. But you have to have that inner strength to be ready for it because there's going to be hard times in revisiting those painful moments. There's going to
Right.
be tears. There's going to be a lot of overthinking, but just sitting in pieces of those moments and seeing if you can unravel the layers behind them
Mm,
will help because
yeah.
then you won't get overwhelmed by them. But I mean, I'm guilty. There was a lot of times when I was doing the work, I was like, that's not me. I don't do that. And then
Yeah.
I would go away from it.
Mm,
I ask questions to myself and then I leave. I
mm,
walk or I go find something else to do or I go have some fun because when you're not fixated on that moment,
mm.
the answers show up.
I love that.
And then it's like, oh, I do that. That is.
Mhm,
And I
mhm,
had to take personal accountability for some things. Yes, not everything in the world is your fault. That's definitely not what I'm saying. But there are pieces of things that you can go, I could have done that better.
yeah,
I could have done that differently. I
yeah.
didn't have to take that. Why did I take that? And that's a question
Mm,
you ask yourself and go, I don't deserve that.
Mm,
I need to stop allowing that because I'm not playing this game anymore, and you can walk
right,
away from it.
right.
Unfortunately, you're going to have to unravel some of these pieces, even in things you don't want to revisit, because they're going to show up in a place in time for you that's probably not as good as you sitting and just thinking about it in the
Mm,
privacy of your own home. I literally had an
mm.
experience like this. I was in the dentist chair and started profusely crying,
Oh my gosh.
hysterically.
Oh,
And the people were like, "Are we hurting you? Like, what's going on?" And I was like,
no.
"Nope, I'm just visiting something right now that apparently I swept under the rug that I should have dealt with elsewhere, so this didn't happen." So,
Wow.
advice is do try to deal with it. Find someone to help you deal with it, because if you don't, it's going to show up in a place in a time you don't want it to.
And that's so true. And it's another like, like how coincidences or how the universe works. This is literally the second time I'm having this particular discussion this week with my mentor. We were visiting a few ideas and stuff, and one of the things I was telling him, I was like, you know, why is it that I'm learning these critical life lessons in my later 30s? Like where was this lesson earlier? And through the conversation, what I get reminded of is, and again, through what you're literally just sharing right now, is it reminds me of the quote from Lao Tzu, the Tao Te Ching. Now I'm paraphrasing. I'm not saying it exactly the way it is, but sort of to say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yes.
So that, I think, is what you're indicating, is that when you are, I have a chapter in a book that I'm in the middle of writing saying enough is enough. Like when you are ready to say enough is enough, I deserve better, I want better, I don't have to justify why that better, whatever it is. But until you're not ready to say the heck with everything, I deserve better, it's almost like that hamster wheel. Do you find that?
I do. I feel like, you know, the majority of us out there are kind, and we care
Mhm.
about other people, and we're supportive, and
Yeah.
we've been taught to help and be there for people, but sometimes it's at the cost of our own selves.
Ah,
And so you get to that point where you're doing what you think is the right thing, but
right.
then it becomes, okay, hold on, this is actually taking pieces of me, but you don't realize it because you're
Yeah.
stuck in this loop of giving, 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 right? Because
Mhm.
I'm doing the right thing and I'm helping other people, and it's going to be great. And yes, it does give you a sense of pride and ownership and rewarding. But if it's at the cost of yourself, how much are you really willing to give?
Sure.
And then you start to think, okay, now I get it. Now I get to that point where I have hit my limit,
Mm,
and you can't go any further. It's literally the roadblock is for you to go, stop.
yeah.
You're taking away from yourself. You're chipping pieces of yourself away,
Mm,
which isn't necessarily a bad thing if you can rebuild it and come
love
back
that.
stronger and better and more in tune with yourself.
Yeah.
But sometimes those pieces are left to the side, and it takes a lot to heal from them.
Mm. And I absolutely love that. And here's why. And you and I had multiple conversations around this particular part of the topic, is that somebody in my family, very much a people pleaser, people person, all that kind of stuff. And with obviously the inspiration of your work and stuff, we have a lot of these discussions where it's actually to that person's benefit
Mm.
if it doesn't get to a dysfunctional part. So if you're giving too much, and then you feel like this rag, for the lack of better word, sacrificing everything of you to no. But sometimes that, because actually, in fact, is because of that individual's people pleaserness, right? It brings insight, like that person is able to deal with certain things because that person cares so much, or found the positive and found the strength within that, what could be to many people a dysfunction.
What I have found, and I don't remember who said this to me, but I was in a group session,
Hmm.
and there was a comment about people pleasing, and we were doing all these things. And I said, you know, The one thing that is really interesting is if you are constantly doing for others, they are never going to find out for themselves. And there's something that they are supposed to be learning too. And if you keep doing it for them, they're never going to learn. They're never going to learn the lesson. They're never going to be able to expand and evolve and explore and get creative. You're taking something from them by doing it for them. So not only are you, sacrificing parts of yourself,
Right.
your time, your energy, your well-being, but you're also now actually hurting someone because you're not letting them take the chance that they need to take.
Yeah. 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 And actually, Claudia, I'm gonna highlight one thing that actually you shared in one of our conversations, just because I think the audience has to hear this, and it
Sure.
really drives home the importance of this message. And with your permission, I'm going to remind you what that was.
Go ahead.
It was the example of the candle, where there's the candle who lights up all these other candles, but the candle's got to have wax in order to hold that flame to be able to give over. You have to have a cup full in order to fill up other cups. All the beautiful analogies that everybody likes to use.
Yes.
But there's so much truth to what you say, Claudia. If you don't mind expanding a
No,
little bit more on it, I think it's so important to drive that message home that it's great to be a giver, but also you have to have something what to give.
yes.
You know?
If you get to that point and you know who you are out there because I know you're me. You give and you give and you give because it
Yeah.
brings you joy and you
Yeah.
want to help people.
Yeah.
But then you start to get burnt out and you're
Mm.
exhausted. And
Mhm.
this sense of panic actually overcomes you when someone then says, "Could you help me with this?" And you can't. Like you're running on empty,
Yeah.
you absolutely
Yeah.
can't, but you're afraid to say no because
Mm.
you have already created this outcome in your mind that
Sure.
there's going to be this great tragedy if you say no to this person. I can give you an example. This
Mhm.
literally happened to me. My mother had called my mom's 82 and
Wow.
she had said, "Hey, can you come over and put up my curtains?" And I was like, I knew I couldn't do it. I knew it. I was on deadlines. I had all this stuff going on and I was like, "Oh my gosh." But in my mind it's going, she's going to hate me if I don't do this, right? Like I'm a bad person if I don't hang
Sure.
curtains for my 82-year-old mother in this
Right.
moment. And a piece of me spoke up, that flame it was flickering and it was like, "You're going to burn out. You're going to burn out." And it said, "You got to say no to this right now."
Mhm.
And I said, "I would love to help you with that, but I can't do it right now." And the
Mhm.
response I got back was, "No problem, I'll ask someone else." And I was like, "What? There's other
Wow.
people in this world that help you with things
Right.
besides me?" And I had to sit with that for a minute because I was like,
Wow.
am I obsessed with the need to be needed? Like, is that the
Mm.
problem? Like, did I really think I was the only person in this world that could help her?
Yeah.
Whoa, I need to think about this. And I was like, you know what?
Mm.
I said no. I didn't say it in a mean way. You don't always have to say no aggressively. You just say, you know
Sure.
what?
Sure.
Can we table that and we'll do it another time?
Sure.
And it was fine. This
Yeah.
whole scenario of whatever I had created in my mind was a lie. I was lying to myself.
Mm.
And in that moment, I stood up for me,
Mm.
filled my cup. I did the things I needed to do.
Mm.
And the world was fine.
Wow. And wow, just I love that story. That is, and it really highlights something, Claudia. And there's a few things that are coming up to my mind. And one of the questions I wanted to ask you was, this message of the being needed, or the what seems to be from what you're sharing is the people pleaserness in us. If that's only for people pleasers, if that's a relevant message only for these people, I am not a people pleaser by any means. I'm
True.
going to be honest about it. But I mean, like, okay,
That's
that's
great.
not something I
You
have.
know who you are. There's nothing
You
wrong
know,
with it.
I'm not apologizing for it, but I'm just saying, like, it's just something I don't have. But it's funny because I just related to something you just shared, and I'm going to share that in a minute. But I'm curious to hear, are you finding through your work that the more you share this message, like, who are the people who are really hearing the message that you're sharing? Is it just needy slash people pleasers, or is it resonating with others? What are
It
you
actually
finding?
resonates with everyone because it goes
Mm.
into time management.
Mm.
It goes into the ability to say no. It goes into judgment, the fear of what other people are going to think if I don't do this, the comparison rut. Well, this, your brother does this, but your sister does that, or your best friend does that. And it goes into personal as well as professional, because there's that piece when you're working that you feel like you can't say no to anything. I was literally working with someone who said, I'm constantly, telling my teams that they need to take breaks and they need to take time off and they need to take vacation, but they're not learning that from me because I don't do it, because I don't feel like I can ever take time off, because look, the company is not going to fold if you're not there for one day.
Right.
You need to go and be sick. So it literally can relate to anyone in any walk of life. It doesn't have to be just a people pleaser, but there are a lot of people pleasers out there, myself included, recovering. So learning how to facilitate or navigate through these waters, because they're uncharted for you. It's going to be hard at first, but each time you do, you're going to see that flame light up a little bit more. You're going to see that candle grow because it's not burnt out.
Yeah. And I love that share. And as promised, what comes to me when you were just sharing this, so when I was on my public speaking tour and when I was going to do a lot of public speaking, what occurred to me, and as I give myself feedback and as I found that I was very focused on, are they going to like me? Are they going to like the message I'm about to share? Not like me as like me. I didn't care about whether they like me or not, but more like, will I get that message that, my goal every time I go into a room, that I speak to a room, I want the people who are in that room to feel some form of transformation. They're going to leave that room and their life is one iota better than when they first came in. That's my goal. Okay.
I agree.
And every time I came onto the stage, I was like, am I going to say the right thing? Am I actually going to accomplish this goal? And I was all in my head. And I was stressing out. And like, I don't have the fear of public speaking, but I was stressing out. I had a lot of anxiety around it. And I remember reading something. This is beautiful. I think everybody's going to love this. I read this and it transformed my life. I said, it said like this: true influence is when you learn to not care whether they like you or not, but you like them first. So focus on liking them. Focus on actually transforming them, Don't focus on, are they transforming? Focus on transforming them. And they said like this: why is this so powerful? Why is this so powerful? And why is this real transformation? Why is this real influence? It's because it's very hard to not like somebody who already likes you.
That's true. That's very true.
And that to me was trend, like that changed everything. And the next time I went onto the stage after that lesson, I was like, Yermi, you wait here backstage. I'll be back. Right now, this, whatever this is, has a message. It's going to share that message, come back off stage and meet up with Yermi back again. And we're going to continue going.
I love it.
And that's literally my visual that I have every time I get on the stage. And I think it ties in. And that's where I think it relates to so many people, wherever they are. We're so focused on wanting to be liked, or am I sharing something that's going to be liked or whatever. Listen, if you're true to your message, and if it's a message worth hearing, say it.
Yeah.
And let it go.
Yeah.
And let it do its thing.
I completely agree. It really falls in line with part of my own, pillar of, no matter what I'm doing, I know I made a difference. Like every single day, no matter what it is that I've done, I have made a difference either in my life or in someone else's. And if you have that as your basically philosophy of how you walk through life,
love it.
There's nothing else you can do. Like if you say, I made a difference, I made someone smile, I made a difference, someone heard what I said and they came to me and said, you know what? I needed to hear that today. Any of those things. It could be just that you literally lit up a room when you walked into it. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. But the fact that I can say I made a difference in my own heart or in someone else's, whether I gained knowledge or insight, that's what matters.
Sure. I mean, I personally find inspiration from literally what you just shared. So, but it does.
Mission accomplished. Check for the day.
It does bring us to that question that I love asking people. I learned so much from this question. Is that, you come into a room, you come into this podcast right here, you're full of energy, you're full of, where do you draw this energy from? Where do you draw your inspiration from? What's feeding you? What is, where does Claudia get her, how does she fill up her cup?
I am grateful.
Mm.
That's literally it. I am grateful for every day. I am
Mm.
grateful that I get to do all of these amazing things and I get to
Mm.
share. I'm grateful that I've found me and my own voice. And if my voice helps others, I get excited about everything because everything is something new, something fun, something to explore, a great conversation, a new person, a new talent, a new skill. There's so many things to be grateful for. And I hold on to gratitude. And that really does bring me the joy and the light and the fun and fire me up. So also the people, because I like people and doing shows and meeting people and speaking and facilitating and coaching and doing all the things.
Wow.
I get to be with people every day. So how is that a bad thing? Because people are awesome.
I love it, love it, love it, and it's seen, it's shown. That's something that I absolutely fell in love with. That character that you bring, that attitude that you bring. There's so much truth to that because you honed in your strength, the people pleasing thing that you had, growing up and all that, and you found, no, I just love people and I love helping people, and that's really what it's. You tapped into your strength, and I think that's absolutely brilliant. And this that you're helping out so many people, it's just so inspiring indeed. And I know that you mentioned that you had a freebie that you wanted to share with people.
Yes. So I have a freebie. It's called Identifying Your Fears. It's a workbook. I like questions. We've discussed that because questions lead to insight and wisdom. We all have a fear that we know we have. Like, I'm afraid of heights. I know this. It's something that I really can't work on. I can get better at, but I don't think this is ever going to be a thing where I'm going to be like on the top of a mountain and being like, hey, everybody. That's not a thing. But there are fears that we don't know we have, whether it's like the tendencies we've been discussing, the people pleasing, the shiny object syndrome, the judgment, the guilt, whatever. This workbook is going to help you uncover those. And it's just a gift from me to you to help you hone in on what needs to be unraveled so that you can repair it and move forward. Because if it's keeping you stuck or holding you back, you're missing out. And I don't want you to miss out.
Love it. So so the freebie is in the show notes right here below. So check it out. It is an unbelievable gift. Thank you so much, Claudia, for really caring about all of us and giving us these powerful questions to really go through and ask, what's that blockage. So thanks again. And on behalf of all the audience members who cannot physically do that right now, so I'm doing it for them, but I'm sure they're going to gain so much from this freebie. So again, thank you so much. And
thank you. Thank you for having me. This has been wonderful. I'm
such a pleasure. So again, thanks for showing up, and thanks all you audience members. This is what I'm talking about. You take inspiration from these kind of stories. I'm sure there's something that you could identify with. Hey, if you go back, rewind a little bit the show, you're going to see that I didn't relate to the people pleasing thing, but hey, I found something that I did relate to. When I was doing that public speaking. So we all have these lessons that we could draw from these kind of incredible stories. These individuals who worked so hard, looked at themselves hard in the mirror, took, maybe a workbook that Claudia is now offering you and asked themselves the hard questions, and remember that when you're ready, your life is ready to transform when you're ready, when it's the right time for you, and you just have to be ready to go. So that is my takeaway from today's lesson. I would love to hear what your takeaway is. And, this wraps up this episode of the Exceptionally Irresistible Show. And we can't wait to see you again next week, next time, for another awesome guest. So again, thank you, everybody. And thank you, Claudia.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Enjoy, everyone.
That's it for this week's episode of the Exceptionally Irresistible Show. What has inspired you to take action in your life? Take action now. Take the first step. Share it with a friend or write it in a journal. Subscribe and share this episode. And remember, you too are exceptionally irresistible.